This here is the brand new Redmi Note 8 from Xiaomi, and this is the best smartphone that you can buy right now under 10,000 Indian rupees. So I have a lot to say about this smartphone. So let's begin. Now the pricing of the Redmi Note 8 starts from 10,000 rupees, and the model I have here is the entry level with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. Now with that in mind, let us move on with the rest of the video, and starting off with the build. Usually smartphones under the 10,000 rupee price range don't really have such good builds, and that is because smartphone companies tend to put better performance and a good camera rather than concentrating on the build. But that is not the case here with the Redmi Note 8. The Redmi Note 8 is a premium feeling smartphone. Yes, premium. It has Gorilla Glass 5 both on the front and the back, and the minute you take it in hand, it definitely shouts premium. By no means is it a really high-end smartphone, and you have to consider that this here is a 10,000 rupee budget device, and getting that premium feel for such a low price is something that not many people expect, and Xiaomi has done a great job here. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that even though the phone feels premium, it is heavy and it is also slippery because it has glass on the back, and it is a serious fingerprint magnet. Now the quad camera array at the back is raised quite a bit, and that might cause your phone to like rock around on the table. Now if you don't want fingerprints, you don't want scratches, or you don't want your phone to just slide down, then make sure you have a case put on. So Xiaomi provides a really good case. It is of course not any hard shell case, but this definitely provides some really good grip. The Note 8 has a headphone jack. Now that's a great plus. It has USB-C with fast charging support. Yes, there is an 18-watt fast charger in the box. Yes, it is included, and the phone charges up like really fast. And alongside both of these, we have a mono speaker. Now since this is a mono speaker, we might tend to cover up or block the speaker, because while watching videos, eventually this is your resting position of the finger. So that is kind of a downside. But on the good side, the speaker quality is really nice and loud. And bonus point, we have an infrared module built inside the Note 8 with which you can control devices. Now the earpiece is one area where I felt the Redmi Note 8 lacked a bit. Now the audio is clear. Yes, the audio quality is clear, but it is not loud enough. Now especially if you're outdoors, and of course there is going to be a lot of noise, then you will have to just jam in the earpiece next to your ear to listen to the opposite person speaking properly. So that is a small downfall when it comes to the entire build. Now the phone is amazing in terms of the build quality. So what about the front, where we have the gorgeous 6.3-inch Full HD display? So this here is a 1080p LCD panel, and this is one of the best panels that I've seen in a 10,000 rupee device. Now the quality of this display, of course, is definitely not going to be like an AMOLED display, but for what you're paying, the display here is amazing. The text is crisp. When you're watching a video or playing the game, it gives a really good immersive feel when you're consuming media, and that is a great advantage for a phone. So even the colors produced by this display are really nice. Now again, as I previously mentioned, it is not going to be like AMOLED, but still the colors are pretty good, and the color reproduction is like really nice. Now on the top we have a teardrop notch, which is not too obtrusive, so I really like that. And we have a little bezel around the device itself. Now yes, we can't consider a near bezel-less design for under 10,000 rupee. That might come any time in the future, but for now I think this here is a really good looking display that, I mean, no one can really complain about. But one thing to keep in mind is that the display is not quite bright, so when you're using it outdoors, the viewing experience might not be as good as what you experience when you're indoors. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk about performance. Snapdragon 665, 4 gigs of RAM, Adreno 610 GPU, and 64 gigs of onboard storage. Now on paper this might not be the highest end specs, but for 10,000 rupees, I think the Xiaomi Note 8 has nailed it in terms of the performance. So let me start off with gaming that most people look out for these days. You can play the brand new Call of Duty Mobile at high settings with a really smooth gameplay. Yes, don't crank it to very high, then you might experience stutter, but at high settings the gameplay is really smooth. So that is with high settings and everything else enabled, like motion blur and things like that. So that is how good the gaming experience is. Now even if you're a person who plays PUBG, you can play at low to medium settings with the gameplay going really smooth. Now with these two demanding titles like playing really well, I think there is nothing else to go wrong if you are particularly choosing this mobile for gaming. So just think about it. Before 3-4 years, if you were planning to buy a smartphone for under 10,000 rupees, it would have definitely been for just casual web browsing or making phone calls or texting. No one would have ever thought that is going to be a smartphone that is going to be used for gaming. But now with the Xiaomi Note 8, you can game at high settings, or rather say medium settings depending on the game you play, like really smooth. The hardware and the software optimization is the only reason why the games are running smoothly right now, but I'll talk about the software in some time. So everyday tasks like watching YouTube or even movies, or if you're accessing multiple apps, is all smooth on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8. And as I previously told, all this is also because of the software, not only the hardware. And the Xiaomi Note 8 runs on MIUI 10 on top of Android 9. And to be honest, the experience is really refined except the ads. Make sure you disable all the ads. Now for that, there's an amazing video made by Technology Jock Sundar. I'll have that in the links down below or somewhere up here, so make sure you check that out. But once you disable all the ads and all the other crap that Xiaomi gives, then this here is an amazing device to use. And I am a stock Android person and I've been using OnePlus from the OnePlus X time. So even after coming from that, I felt MIUI was really snappy. Now I don't know when MIUI 11 is going to come to the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8, but let's wait and watch for that. But until then, the performance on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 is really mind-boggling, and you have to take into account that this here is a 10,000 rupee device. Even though it doesn't have the best of the best in terms of specs, I think the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 definitely delivers what we expect. So moving on to the camera performance, and I think Xiaomi has again nailed it here too. So we have 4 cameras, yes, 4 cameras in a 10,000 rupee device. We have a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now the highlight here is the 48 megapixel main camera, and I am really surprised with the images that it produces. The images that you shoot on the 48 megapixel camera are really sharp and detailed. Even the colors that it produces are really good. I won't say it is the best, but it is really good. And the dynamic range here is also good. I won't say it's the best, but it's good. Now when you're taking low light shots, I think it is not the best or not the great, but it's okay. It gets the job done. But when it comes to the ultra wide camera, I'm not a huge fan of it. Yes, you get the ultra wide perspective, and you need to have plenty of light for this camera to take a proper shot. Even if you allow plenty of light in, I think the shots don't turn out as detailed as what you get on the primary camera, and I think that's quite sad. But I'm not complaining here because this here is a 10,000 rupee device, and getting an ultra wide camera is, I think, really good. Now there's also a macro lens on the Redmi Note 8, and I think this gives a different kind of style that a user can try out. Now the pictures taken from the macro lens are quite detailed when compared to the ultra wide, and I'm really happy about that. And last but not least, there is a digital zoom that works fine, so nothing great here. So for all the selfie lovers here, we have a 13 megapixel front camera, which is quite good. But personally, I don't think it gives the most detailed photos, but I think for a social media post, it is more than enough. But make sure you turn off all the beauty filters which are already active when you initially take out the phone. So make sure you disable all that if you want a really good sharp photo. Now as for video, we have 4K at 30 fps and of course other 1080p options like 60 and 30, but 4K video at 30 fps is really good when you give it plenty of light. Now if you're shooting videos outdoors, the video is really detailed and the dynamic range is also decent, and the 48 megapixel camera, of course, again as I previously mentioned, gives really good detailed video. Now if you're planning to use this camera for YouTube, I think you can definitely do that and get really good output. And last but not least, we have many other features like you can take a video from the macro lens. So yeah, you can do that, so that's great. And you have slow motion, which I would personally say not to use because it is not that high quality, but still if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do. But again, before moving on, let me just tell you that the camera interface is the typical Xiaomi camera interface that you get, with many features and beauty filters and things like that. Now moving on to the battery life, and I think this is one area where I felt the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 has done a pretty good job again. Now to be honest, I'm a person who doesn't use my smartphone that much, and I was able to use this phone for 2 working days without any issues. Yes, 2 working days. Now if you're a very hardcore user, you can comfortably end your entire day with around 20 to 25% of charge, and I think that is great considering that this is not the most power efficient chip that is out there. And you have to remember, I test these devices really heavily, so it is not like my usual day. If I'm testing out a smartphone, I put a lot of stress on the CPU and on the device. For example, that is me playing games like Call of Duty, PUBG for a long time and browsing through the internet and reading articles and things like that for a very long time. So the phone is under constant stress, and with that I was able to get around 20 to 25%. Now if you're someone who wants a smartphone with really good battery life, especially under this price range, I think the Xiaomi Note 8 again delivers. Yes, there are many other smartphones, but when we are taking a look at this individually, I think this definitely performs really well. Now on to the other smaller bits of this smartphone. So let's start off with the fingerprint sensor. Now this here is quite a fast fingerprint sensor and the position of it is amazing. But the only gripe I had about this is that the fingerprint sensor is not that recessed. By that I mean it is not like dented. If it was a dented fingerprint sensor, it would have been much more easier to identify where it was. Now since that is not the case here, I have to fiddle around a bit to search where it is. The position is right, but it could have been a little more, into the device itself. That would have been more convenient. So moving on, this has dual SIM, both support Volt, and it also has a micro SD slot which supports up to 512 gigs of storage. Yes, it is not a hybrid slot, so you have 2 SIM card slots along with 1 micro SD slot. Now if you're someone who uses a lot of storage, then you can definitely use this. So that's basically it. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 is an amazing device that you can buy under 10,000 rupees. Yes, there are very minute things that I found like not really good with this, but those are not really big issues. Now if you want a smartphone with a really good camera, a really good display, really good battery life, really good performance, and at a great price, I think the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 is the smartphone to buy right now. And you can fight with me how much ever you want, but I will say this here is the best smartphone that you can buy right now. So in future, of course, there will be many smartphones to come, but for now I think this here is the best smartphone under 10,000 Indian rupees. So if I have missed out anything in this review, make sure you put that in the description down below and I will update you with that. So thanks for watching, and this here is Suman signing off once again. Catch you later.